Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for our very special and festive cocktail hour. Tonight we will be virtually visiting some of the most magical Christmas markets in Europe. Before we start sailing, we'd like to give you a few friendly reminders. This is a live and interactive event, and we'd love your participation. If you are joining us on GoToWebinar platform, please post your questions and comments under Questions tab of the GoToWebinar menu. If you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube, please use the comments section below. We have a team of excellent multilingual moderators who will be answering your questions in real time. We will also select some of your questions to be addressed in the Q&A portion towards the end of our program. This event will be recorded and archived and shared with you at a later time. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you our hosts for tonight. Our very own co-founder and executive vice president, the always sparkling Kristin Karst. Hello, Kristin.
Hello everyone. I should say in Germany, Guten Abend, Guten Tag, hello, and it's such a pleasure to be here with you today. Looking forward to bringing you the romantic Christmas markets along the Danube and the Rhine closer to your hearts.
Thank you so much, Kristin, and co-owner and senior vice president of sales here at AmaWaterways, the unforgettable Gary Murphy. Hello, Gary.
Hello, everyone. And Kristin, I love your red festive Christmas dress. It's very nice.
I love the color of red, with or without Christmas, but I think it's very appropriate for Christmas, right?
Well, I found this jacket I got in Muncie, the town where they filmed Sound of Music, The Wedding. And it's a beautiful German leather jacket, and I cranked up my air conditioning so I could be comfortable. But anyway, I'm looking...
four more months, and then it's already Christmas, right? The time will run fast.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Kristin. I now wish everyone a bon voyage, and please take it away.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Christmas markets in Germany, Austria, and in Europe in general are a phenomenal bucket list. I'll never forget walking into the Christmas markets, I think it was in Regensburg, and as I walked into the markets, a family was coming out of the market, pulling a toboggan with two children on the toboggan and one of them holding on to a Christmas tree that they were dragging behind them. I mean, you can't imagine what how traditional, how true it is. And what's truly delightful about these markets, it's put on for the locals. And we're invited to just participate in a tradition that goes back hundreds of years. I mean, Kristin, you come from, I think, the oldest Christmas city celebrating the Christmas markets, don't you?
Absolutely. I was born in Dresden, the former Eastern Germany. And Dresden's history goes back to 1434. Indeed, this was the oldest Christmas market in the world. But I can tell you, before even the Christmas markets started, there were markets before, and they were called December markets. That's when the people were all, getting together for some festive gatherings in the months of December, enjoying some of these treats that today we connect to the Christmas time, of course, like the Glühwein, the hot mullet wine, and many, many of these sweet treats. So the markets are near and dear to my heart, deeply rooted in the way I was brought up. And indeed, the Germans, the Austrians, the Hungarians, everyone in Europe loves to welcome guests from all over the world and to share the traditions. And I know our entire AmaWaterways family all over the world, because we do not have just an office in California and in Texas, but we also have offices in London, in Basel, in Switzerland. And, crew members, cruise managers from all over the world, they love to celebrate Christmas. So thank you so much, all our travel partners and guests, for joining us today for this very festive hour. So let's go to the next slide.
Our first toast.
Yeah, we will have a toast. And even so, first I thought I would toast with one of my Christmas mugs. And I have a few which I want to show you. This one is from Vienna. And this one is actually from the city of Dresden. But you know, to have a toast with these mugs is not the right thing. So I decided for my favorite red wine, the Blaufränkische from Austria. And so please raise your glass with us. And this is to our Ama family and friends. May you keep your hearts and minds open to new traditions and to brighter days ahead. And may you always find something to celebrate together. For example, Christmas. So cheers, prost, some more.
So Merry Christmas coming up in 4 months.
Coming so soon now. And first we thought we would like to show you a video to bring you the magic of Christmas and the way how we do it on board our ships close to you. So let's just take a quick look at this video. Frohe Weihnachten.
All right, so Kristin, we have our first poll to get an idea who is with us today. I like to ask a couple of questions. To all of you joining us today, have you experienced a Christmas market and a holiday cruise over in Europe? So if you could just click on one of those. So experience once, experience more than once, planning on taking a Christmas market cruise, or haven't experienced and haven't considered one yet. So let's take a look. And if those of you who haven't considered one yet, it's a festive time. And if you look about the weather, I always say to people ask about the weather, you can Google it now. And if you Google, you'll see on the Danube, it's drier in November than it is in August. It is cooler, cooler obviously because of the season, but often it's much drier. So Sonia, do we have any results yet, or do we need a little bit more time? Okay, so what we have now is experience once, 14%. Planning on taking a Christmas market cruise, great, at 46%. And then 28% have yet to consider one, and we have 11% have done more than one. It's if you've cruised the Danube in the summertime, and then you go back again for the Christmas markets, it's like a completely different experience. So I encourage you, even if you've done one of the rivers before, it's a delightful experience to do it once again. Next slide, Sonia.
So this is the city of Dresden in Germany, where I grew up. And I can tell you, for me, Christmas time was always the most magical time of the year. In Dresden, there was a lot of snow falling then, which made the holidays feel even more special. I always particularly loved Advent calendars, where you open the door every day, and not necessarily the kind sold today with the chocolates, but the kind with the fairy tale pictures. And in the weeks before the holiday, Dresden's Marcus, the oldest one, would have this big Advent calendar on the town hall with a window opened by Santa and his elves every night. And that was especially beautiful when everything was dark and the lights were on and so many Christmas trees around. Now, growing up in this kind of magical environment at the holidays, I wanted to share the experience with all of you, our travel partners and guests, particularly those from outside of Europe who would not normally get to see how special it is. And now, of course, my family, and you see here actually on the left side, my daughter Isabel, then comes my mom Ute, and on the right side, my nephew Marcus. So we would go every Christmas, we would go to the different markets, and we would buy our Christmas tree in the early morning hours on December 24 only, not earlier. And then we would come home and decorate the tree, while my mom spent hours in the kitchen, and we were not allowed to enter the kitchen. There was just this festive scent of the Christmas dish coming to us. Now, after the tree was decorated, we would come together for lunch and then take a nap while our mom would put the presents around the tree. And of course, my dad, who would help her, but he was much more the easygoing one. So my brother and I, of course, we knew where my mom had hidden the presents, because like many children, when our parents were not around, we would go and search for them. And then, of course, be really surprised when we would open our Christmas presents. And that all happened in the evening of December 24, so not December 25. Our Christmas evening was when we had this tradition. So family traditions are more important now than ever. And we are seeing a lot of pent-up demands for families to travel together with their loved ones, to create new memories. And our holiday cruises are just a perfect fit for families, because there is something for every member of the family to enjoy. Right, Gary?
It certainly is. It's those moments that you help mark the calendar of your life. You'll never forget them. And here's my family. Yes, this is on the AmaMagna last Christmas with my family in the restaurant named after my father, Jimmy Murphy. It's a family-style restaurant. And again, a delightful time to get together. And my daughters are already asking, I mean, they're expecting to go on this cruise again this year, Christine. Oh, Emma, the one on, just above me there, Emma was talking to me last night saying, Dad, we have to do that again. I mean, we were there over Christmas, and then we celebrated New Year's. And New Year's on the ship was spectacular. The fireworks display went on, seemed for hours, but it was a moment we'll cherish forever.
Yeah. And then, of course, we all know we experience our world through our taste buds, right? And you will not be disappointed on our Christmas market river cruises, because there are plenty of seasonal delights, both on board and ashore. And what's important is that each city has some unique local treats, from the Nürnberger sausages to the Reibekuchen, that's like a German fried potato cake, to the Black Forest cake, and so much more. Of course, the goose is something that we would eat then on Christmas Day on December 25. And we are also so delighted to treat our guests to a holiday feast with all these trimmings on every Christmas market sailing, regardless of departure date. So some of the foods you will enjoy are the goose as well on board our ships, or my personal favorite, the Stollen, a traditional bread filled with fruit and coated with powdered sugar. And then, of course, there is the Glühwein, the hot mullet wine. Mostly it's made out of red wine with many, many spices. But as you have seen us on the Dresden Christmas markets, we can do Glühwein with any type of wine and with any type of fruits. This could be cherry, plum, berries, but even apple and pear and peach. Any type of Glühwein is absolutely wonderful.
You know what I like, Christine, is that when you go to the market, if you want to know who has the best Glühwein, you can go to the stall that has the longest line. You know, and because they all have their own recipe, as you know, but each market you have that individual mug, and I think you pay €3 for the glass of blue wine and the mug. And then when you turn it back in, I don't know if you your mug, you can turn it back and either get a euro back or €2 back. Yeah. But of course, most of our guests will keep all of their glasses on board. It's just, you have to remember, if you want to bring them home, you need the space and luggage. I remember the first time I did this, I brought a couple glasses home. I left most of them on a ship. And when I got home, my wife was just recognized one blue wine. Oh, you shouldn't got more of these. I couldn't tell her that I left like a dozen on the ship. You know, they're so unique. But you want to know where the best blue wine is in your market? Look at the line for the stall. And also, like you said, each market's known for its own little personality, its own little treat. You said Nuremberg, the sausage, and also gingerbread. Nuremberg is also known for its gingerbread. A lot of them are similar things, but all of them have that unique component that makes them so special.
They really, really do. And you are so right with the lines, Gary, because the locals know exactly where is the best Glühwein, and that's not necessarily the sweetest or the strongest one, right?
Right.
Yeah, but I would love to take you all to the Danube River. And we start here now on this itinerary in Budapest. And of course, you know, our ships go back and forth for 7 nights. Depending on your itinerary, we can do Budapest to Nuremberg, Budapest to Passau and Vilshofen. But so let's get started in this grand city of Budapest with its beautiful grand architecture. It is just a most fairy tale setting for the Christmas market. And the market here at Vörösmarty Square opens earlier. It opens actually around November 8. And we are still in big hope that it will also open this year. And it is Hungary's largest market. So besides of just being beautiful, what is special about this market is that it has a strict handicraft only policy. So it is the most wonderful place to shop for souvenirs and gifts. And as Gary said, take an extra suitcase with you because you will fill it with all these amazing souvenirs that you can purchase there. And then you have, of course, all your Christmas presents, and you don't have to be nervous anymore when you come home that you don't have any more time for this.
Christine, Christine, in that market, I got some like a porcelain anthurium flowers on a stem that this young couple make them all year long and sell them at the market. Again, people are buying them up like they're going out of style. And I still have, they're fantastic handmade little porcelain flowers.
Yeah, it's absolutely unique and beautiful. And that's why I also feel we all want these Christmas markets to go on. And, you know, it's essential for the vendors there. It's essential for the local people as well. They might just, you know, have more markets throughout the city, much more spread out. So that's not just one crowded place, but really the entire city will turn into a Christmas market, and that should be actually something nice that is coming out of it.
Yes.
But so here now we have Vienna, and we skipped Bratislava, and Bratislava is the capital of Slovakia. And one thing about Bratislava, it is known for their beautiful large Christmas trees. And it is a less touristy city, but definitely absolutely wonderful during Christmas. Now, Vienna. Of course, this is the Christmas market in front of the town hall in Vienna, the largest and the most beautiful Christmas market out of the 20 markets they have over there. And this is also the market where we take you as part of our included city tour, or in the evening hours when the lights are on and it's dark and you have this nice romantic atmosphere there. Then we have a shuttle for you, and you can take the shuttle from our ship to the market and stroll around together with the locals. And really, it's all these holiday lights that just illuminate the city and make it impossible not to be in awe of all these beautiful, beautiful decorations. Now, as the next one, of course, from Vienna, we start sailing towards the Wachau Valley. And this is this beautiful wine area in Austria. And I see, Gary, you did spend some great time with your family in Dürnstein, where you're hiking up to the fortress there.
Yeah, on all of our cruises, we have hikes and biking. And this was the guided hike we do up to Dürnstein Castle, Dry Rock. And this is where they say Richard the Lionheart was locked up by King Leopold because Richard said some not so nice things about him coming back from the Crusades. So we go up and we hike up to the top, and there's a very picturesque spot that we had a picture with the family. And think about this, this is December and it's a sunny, bright day. Now you can tell by the coats and the jackets and the shoes, there was a chill in the air, but it was a fantastic, you know, crisp chill. And again, a delightful moment to be with the family.
Yeah, beautiful family you have.
Well, thank you.
And of course, Salzburg, the city of the Holy Nights, right? So from the Wachau Valley, we cross the border from Austria into Germany. No, not yet. We are one day before. We first go to Linz. And Linz is a very artsy city. And from there, we offer you different excursions. And one, especially during Christmas time, that you have to do is to visit the city of Salzburg. Of course, also well known for the composers. Mozart, the Mozartkugeln, the traditional chocolate comes from there. And then, of course, the big fortress over there. Now, Salzburg is its own setting, just like a movie, like the movie The Sound of Music. It dates back, the Christmas market in Salzburg, to the late 15th century. And here you might find something very distinctive in the market stalls. And this is the Krampus, so which is kind of like a devil created to scare little kids into being good for Christmas. And one thing I would like to tell you also when it comes to our ships, the night from the 5th to the 6th of December is when actually Santa is coming through the chimney, and then you have to put out your boots. And the crew will judge you if you were nice enough to them or maybe didn't behave, and then they fill your boots with either the sweet treats or with some charcoal, exactly the way we have done it with our children or our parents did it with us when we grew up there. So we celebrate so many wonderful Christmas traditions on board. And now from Linz, now we cross the border from Austria and we go into Germany. And you see the beautiful city of Passau covered in snow here. And the Passau Christmas market is about half the size of the larger ones in Vienna and Budapest. And it takes place in front of the St. Stephen's Cathedral. Now, the St. Stephen's Cathedral is actually the largest cathedral when it comes to the organ, because the organ has almost 18,000 pipes. So the largest organ in Europe. And when you're lucky enough, we can visit the church during an organ concert, which usually takes place a couple of days a week at noon. But there's always the Christmas Mass if we are there on Christmas Eve, December 24. And of course, it's not just all about the markets, because Passau is located on 3 rivers, the Danube, the Inn, and the Ilz. And if there is weather like this, nice and sunny and not so cold, we even take the bikes out and we are biking along the Danube River. It's quite a ride, but it's breathtaking, so beautiful. Or as another option, because we offer you so many included tours in small groups, we hike up to the Benedictine Abbey. And from there, you have the most magnificent view over the entire city of Passau. So now let's see, from Passau, where do we go? So if we continue on to Nuremberg as part of our itinerary, we will stop in the city of Regensburg as our port of call. If we disembark already in Vilshofen, then we take you to Regensburg if you have booked our Prague pre or post program with us. So Regensburg, for me, is also a city near and dear to my heart, because you see here, this Christmas market in front of the Turn and Taxis castle. So this is for me the most fairy tale medieval Christmas market, also considered by many to be the most romantic in entire Bavaria. It has an entrance fee. So this way they also keep the number of visitors down. So not so many really enter, but with AmaWaterways, you're in the best hands. We cover your entrance fee because we want you to experience this market. And one of the local specialties you won't want to miss at this market is their fresh dumplings in vanilla sauce. And I think my mouth is watering just imagine my last bite at this Christmas market. So now, okay, the AmaMagna. The AmaMagna is our double wide ship, the luxury of space that is cruising the Danube, of course, also for Christmas market cruises. And this ship, built last year, is just a perfect river cruise ship for families who wish to celebrate this festive season, but also right now in those times with COVID-19. So once we all living in America, in the US, are able to enter Europe again, I can only recommend this ship because, first of all, it has the largest staterooms. Stateroom average size is about 350 square feet, with suites going up to 710 square feet large. But the most important part is we offer you there 4 restaurants, 5 bars, an oversized wellness studio, spinning bikes with the view, manicure, pedicure, facial, massages, and so much more. And currently, the restrictions are that river cruise ships cannot cruise with more than 100 guests on board. So now imagine you would be on the AmaMagna, a ship that is built for, with us, 192 guests only, but now you're together with just a few guests. So this is the ultimate Christmas experience there. And the Magna, Christmas Magna itinerary is also so special because we offer you there exclusively a guided hike and bike ride in the winemaking village of Spitz. So Spitz is part of the Wachau Valley again. It's so famous for the Heurigen. Now the Heurigen happens in November. That's part of the harvest time. But you know, if you are really lucky, you catch a November wine cruise at the time where some of the Christmas markets are open already. And then you can enjoy both the additional value of the wine as well as the beauty of the Christmas markets. So let's go to the next slide. And let's also talk about our pre and post river cruise land programs on the Danube, because I feel when you do the long flight over, no matter if you come from the East Coast, then you fly about 8 hours, or if you come from the West Coast, then it's about 12 hours to fly to Munich. For instance, 7 nights alone is not long enough. Come and join us for our pre and post program in Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic, or Munich, one of the most beautiful cities in Germany or Bavaria. And I always make fun of the Bavarians because they say we are not Germans, right? So they are much closer to the Austrians. And it happens to be my husband, our president, Rudi. He's from Vienna, he's Austrian. So we always make fun of each other being neighbors. So often neighbors don't get along with each other, right? But opposites always confirm the rules, as we always say. So, and then of course there is Budapest as well that I recommend you book maybe a night or 2 nights before you start the cruise or after the cruise, especially because it's getting darker during these days. There you might have a little bit more of the jet lag because you don't have so much daylight. Then it is better to overcome this jet lag a day or 2 days earlier. So, but I also have a few insider tips here for you. So first of all, when you go to the Christmas markets, the vendors, they really, almost none of them take credit cards because it's like really small cash. No matter if you purchase a little Räuchermännchen, this one could be maybe 10 or 15 euro, or maybe the bigger one could be 20 or 25 euro. Or maybe you purchase one of these beautiful handmade pyramids. Of course, we have candles on it. Or as Gary just said, maybe you just take your mug home from your Glühwein mug. So always have this little amount of cash available. And yes, we can exchange it for you on board. But the best is also once you arrive at the airport, there's an ATM, just get some cash there. And except of Budapest, where they still have the traditional Hungarian currency, the rest between Austria, Germany, but even in the Czech Republic, you can use the euro. So you will definitely spend it. Now, I showed you already what to buy, handicrafts, the nutcracker. There are some prune people in Nuremberg, very famous for this. And of course, the Lebkuchen, the German gingerbread. There are these hearts that you can bring home and give to your loved ones. And so often I still have hearts, they are years old, but they are too beautiful to get eaten. So we put them at the wall during Christmas time. And then of course, we all are in the right Christmas mood. And I can also tell you, if you want to come with your families, all our ships, starting from the AmaViola, our ship that was built in 2016, every ship from then on has connecting door cabins. The suites can accommodate families of 4 because we have the bed for the parents and the pull-out sofa for the children as well. And then we have those cabins for 2 with an additional bed for 3. And then you really have an opening door, a sliding opening door to your neighbor cabin. You can open it up and we can accommodate families as large as 6 people there. So always have this in mind when you think about booking one of our holiday cruises, Christmas, and of course, we also celebrate our Jewish traditions there with some very, very traditional delights as well. So now I think we have some special guests coming up here.
We certainly do. Hi, Cindy.
Hello.
Cindy and Debbie are joining us. They cruised together. Debbie from Riverdale was Cindy's travel advisor and put together a group, and they traveled with some girlfriends on a girls' trip. Cindy, Debbie, my wife has done that twice. They did Bordeaux a couple years ago with their friends, and it's a great tradition actually. But it's just, if you could just share your thoughts and experiences of the Christmas markets.
Well, I'm going to start off being negative Nelly because it wasn't my choice to go to the Christmas markets. I was a hair salon owner, and December is the busiest month of the year. Not time for me to go on a trip, but I was talked into it, and I have to say it was absolutely not the shopping. It was an experience. It was a festival. It was charming, the lights, the traditions that you learn about, the Glühwein. It was fantastic. Looking at your pictures for the Danube, that would be on my list. It wasn't on my bucket list to begin with, but it is now. It so gets you in the spirit of things. I have 3 boys, so Christmas is not the top priority for them. So I was kind of losing my Christmas spirit, and it came back the minute you walk into a market. It's fantastic. And our oldest girlfriend was in her 80s. She brought back the most Glühwein mugs. So it's for all ages.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
Debbie, I mean, you were successful putting this group together. I mean, how did the rest of the ladies enjoy the experience?
Yeah, they had a great time. You know, at Riverdale Travel, I mean, we've put together many girlfriend getaways over the years. And when I decide on a destination for the girlfriend getaway, what I look at, I mean, I know they like good accommodations, they like good food, they like good wine. They have to be entertained, they need a safe environment. And of course, we need to include some shopping. And so when I looked at AmaWaterways with the Christmas markets, I knew it was going to be a good fit. And actually, AmaWaterways more than exceeded our expectations. I mean, we came out with luxurious accommodations. We had great food. We had wine that was paired daily to the destination that we were in. And we were entertained. We had some surprises. And of course, we were in a safe environment, but then also with the shopping, the Christmas markets. I mean, oh my gosh, our girls, we could shop in a different destination each day. We could shop in a different country almost every day. And just to experience those Christmas markets, which we don't get back here in the United States. And so I know that it was a hit with everybody. We had a great time.
That's
Awesome.
fantastic.
Cindy and Debbie, so Cindy, you just said for you it wasn't necessarily the shopping experience. What was your most magical experience that you have ashore or on board? And Debbie, what was it for you?
Well, I did end up enjoying the shopping very much. I didn't buy a lot because I didn't have a lot of gifts, but I like to learn the different traditions, and it was very fun. But the ship itself, there was 21 of us, but as we went out daily to the different markets, we ended up seeing people that were on the ship and come back, and we'd have the happy hours and we'd connect. So our group seemed to expand as we went along. It was a very tight ship compared to other ships. I mean, it just was so comfortable and, like Debbie said, so safe. There was one night when a group of us decided late to go out somewhere, and we didn't have an app downloaded to call an Uber or whatever. And we went to Betty, our cruise director, and she had us a taxi and our tickets before I would have had the app downloaded. I mean, everybody was so accommodating. And for my first trip across the pond, it couldn't have been easier. And I felt confident, I felt safe, and it was wonderful.
Yeah. So no matter if you're 3 years or 90 years old, or if it's your first or your 40th Christmas market experience, it is always a new most romantic experience, right? Festive. Debbie, what was it for you?
Taking the girlfriends across the pond, and many of them were going for the first time to Europe. And so we did I think the most memorable when I think about that girlfriend getaway was the first couple days of the trip. Uh, because we arrived into Zurich a day before the cruise started, and the the weather, it was drizzly and dreary, and and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I got all these girls over here, what are they going to do? Well, oh my gosh, they were so excited to go to these Christmas markets. And so they didn't care if it was raining or whatever. Out they went. We went to the first one in Zurich. And with that, there too, they had a live singing Christmas tree. We just don't get that here back in the States. And so that was fun to see. And then also the next day we transferred over to Basel and boarded the Amistella. And then that whole magic started to begin, but then also it was fun to experience that Christmas market. Um, and for me to watch the girls, all our girlfriends on our trip, uh, enjoy themselves, having fun. In a couple of pictures that are on the slide here, we had I don't know if you want to call it an ugly Christmas sweater contest. That's the picture there on the left. And then we also had a Christmas sock contest. And they just had a lot of fun, so those memories are great.
Yeah. And the Zurich Christmas market is really special. I'm sure you were at the one at the train station with the Swarovski Christmas tree, the large
Yes,
indoor
it was
market.
beautiful. Yeah, we all had to take pictures of that tree, and then we ate in there. And then the nice thing there too, it was indoors. And so that evening, because it was raining outside, I
Yeah,
mean, it worked out to be perfect.
yeah, yeah. Very beautiful. Now, Debbie, you are an experienced travel advisor. Do you have any advice on planning a Christmas market cruise?
For sure. If you're going to put a group together, I definitely recommend, planning it at least a year in advance, if not more. With the Christmas market window, it's so short, and to be able to get, the availability and everything that you want. So that's, good to plan ahead. Then also, I do really recommend arriving at least a day or two in advance. You get over that jet lag, and then by the time you board the beautiful ship, you're going to enjoy that first few nights of the cruise way better than if you arrive the day of. And of
Yeah.
course, on a Christmas market, you do need to pack light because you need that extra room in the suitcase going home. Because you have all those souvenirs that you bought, and those glue wine mugs and all that stuff. Very fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just got a text. It's a technical thing, Christine, someone's asking me, did our audio drop off of Facebook? So I don't know how to address that, but for our team, I'm just an FYI.
Gary, this is Sonia. We resolved the issue with the sound, so it's back on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, thank you. I shouldn't have checked my phone. Never mind. Sorry, I kept blinking.
So, and Cindy, how was it for you to travel with your travel advisor?
Oh my gosh, it was like traveling with my mother. She took care of all of us. There, there was absolutely no problems. When we took off here in Minneapolis, we get a lot of snow, and the day we left, we were getting a lot of snow. I just checked my book today that we made, and we were almost 2 hours on the ground here, so that would have made us miss our connecting flight. But Debbie is typing away, texting away, and I think they held the plane like 20 minutes for us, and we made it. So traveling with her is like traveling with your mother. It's worry-free. She takes care of everything. And then when we get to the ship, you guys are there to help her out.
It's the importance of
good
working
to
with
have
a
the best
travel
travel
advisor.
advisor.
Yep. So should I talk about the Rhine, Christine?
Yes, Gary, your turn.
Ladies, interject as we go through since you did this cruise. And I have to make a comment. I have some friends from the UK, Christine, watching us right now. So I'm thinking they're up very late. They should go to bed.
They probably enjoy their wines tonight, right?
I'm thinking that I should pour myself another glass. So here we are on the Rhine. And the Rhine's the second longest river in Europe. The tributary is here in the Netherlands, Rotterdam, one of the largest commercial ports in the world, right next to Amsterdam, one of the most magical ports in the world. Amsterdam with its beautiful canals, its wonderful, colonial style housing, these apartments and everything, they're sort of all leaning one way and another because they're all built on wood foundations into this land, often reclaimed from the North Atlantic by the very industrial Dutch. But to start off in Amsterdam, which was one time one of the wealthiest countries in the world when you think about the trade in the Netherlands and the Dutch Empire. And to start off in Amsterdam, where you can start off in a canal cruise after boarding the ship, and they illuminate the city, the beautiful lights, and they illuminate the different boats. You'll see people decorating their canal boats going up and down through the canals of Amsterdam, a wonderful place to start your cruise before we start going up that majestic Rhine River. That actually, it's 766 miles long and navigable all the way we go up to Basel, up into Switzerland, going through 5 different countries, a great market. We can argue which cruise is the better, the Danube or the Rhine. People always ask us. They're both so different, both so full of flavor and just interesting sights. The next slide, Sonia. So we're going from Amsterdam, we cruise up the Rhine into Cologne. And again, and what's interesting when you go into Cologne and even on the Danube, these different cities we're visiting for the Christmas markets, like Vienna might have 4 or 5 or 6 different Christmas markets. Cologne will have 4 or 5 different Christmas markets. They'll have the one major one here outside the beautiful cathedral in Cologne. But you'll walk down streets and you'll discover these small Christmas markets. And like I said, they're full of local traditions, and they're also full of interesting foods. Foods we don't get at home. It's like a crackle. I know it's not great for my heart, but it tastes so good. What is it? A pork?
If you don't do it every day, right? Yeah.
Okay. What is it? Pork? The crackle? Kristin, the crackle we get, is it a pork rind or something? It's
yes,
like
yes, it is. Yes.
I know, my mouth is watering. I know you guys are talking about, the beautiful baked goods on board. I'm talking about sausages. And we talked about that, Kristin. All of our baked goods are made on board. All those great foods are made on board. We don't freeze anything. We source everything locally. All the fresh produce, all fresh. And what I like about Cologne is after dinner, we go back into the markets, but just on the other side of that cathedral is this magnificent big beer hall full of locals, and you can go in and have that Kolsch beer that's in a tall, thin glass, and it's chilled, and it's a tradition of Cologne. So again, while others might be shopping, it's nice to pop your head in and then get a nice cold Kolsch beer in Cologne, right outside this beautiful cathedral. So
You're
next
with
slide.
locals, right? And there's the chocolate museum too in Cologne, especially when the families are coming. Definitely an insider tip to go to this chocolate museum too.
And then as we cruise up, we have an excursion off to Heidelberg. Again, you see Heidelberg Castle, a wonderful Christmas market right down next to the river. It's a university town, interesting shopping. And again, you get this wonderful feel of Europe and traditions of Europe just off the Black Forest there. Next slide. Do we talk about Black Forest cake? Not yet. Okay, my insider tip. We talk about the Advent calendar. The tradition of Christmas markets, and they open up earlier and they close later. But you talk about the Advent calendar, Advent, the Catholic tradition, the first 4 Sundays before Christmas. The largest markets traditionally all open for Advent, but now they're opening earlier in summer, going right through New Year's. But they have that Advent calendar that Kristin talked about earlier. And my niece and nephew still, because of their German mother, they have a big Advent calendar in their house, and every Sunday they open up. Is it every day, Kristin? They open up one of the windows.
From December 1st till December 24. Yes.
And here we have this building where each window is part of the Advent calendar, so it's a must-see to go visit. The next slide, please. So when do we actually do some wine tasting? Can we have another glass while we're?
You can, Gary. So I talk about the Black Forest cake, and you can have your own sip right now.
I'm having a Gruner Veltliner, one of these wines.
Wow. Now I have to say I am a fan of the Black Forest cake. That's probably one of my favorite cakes. And my mother, she always was baking this cake. So speaking of this Black Forest, so the Black Forest cake has multiple layers of chocolate sponge cake, cherries. Now you can take fresh cherries, but at Christmas time, you might not have the fresh ones. So you take them from the jar, whipped cream, really good rich whipped cream, and chocolate shavings on top. So this cake has been made in Germany, in pretty much every part of Germany, not just the Black Forest area, and now also around the world. I think you can have it in every country for centuries, and we will be sharing our onboard recipe with all of you. So if you really would like to make such a Black Forest cake at home the way we do it on board, we will share this recipe with you, I believe, on Facebook. But Sonia, do we have a chat box here as well, where we can also catch all the email addresses and send the recipe, or somehow, or you can of course always email to us, and then we will be happy to send this over to you.
We
And
will be
so
sharing, Kristin, we will be sharing the recipe with everyone on Facebook, YouTube, as well as travel advisors on GoToWebinar.
perfect, perfect, wonderful. Yes. And I know, Gary, you had your sip of wine now, Kuna Veltliner. So now
Thank
you are
you.
energized
I'm
for
ready to
Strasbourg
go.
again.
I'm ready to go. You know, Strasbourg, but I want to say something about Salzburg first, Kristin. You know, you talk about Salzburg. We do 2 excursions to Salzburg. We'd have the half day to Salzburg and the full day to Salzburg, out of Linz and to Passau. I always encourage people to do the full day. A lot of people do the half day thinking they want to get back to the ship early, and you're up there. It really deserves a full day. Strasbourg, another iconic town off the rivers in Europe. That's the delights of river cruising. You're right in these historic towns that are there because of the river, because of trade. And Strasbourg, there's an old sector of Strasbourg, and I looked this up because I never pronounce it right, but it's Coeur d'Alene, or it translates from French into clothesline. And there's a restaurant there that if you're not going back to the ship for lunch, I recommend you go there. It is fantastic. It's in the old quarter and the food is spectacular. But when you're in Strasbourg, a great shopping town and a great town just to walk around. If you think about the Rhine is the border to many different countries. On one side of the Rhine, you have Germany, the other side of the Rhine, you have France. One side of the Rhine, you might have parts of Switzerland, and you have France or Germany. It's the highway of old. It's how trade took place through Central Europe. The Rhine and the Danube, the Romans really used those rivers to develop right at the end of the Roman Empire. So there's all this history there. But Strasbourg, one of my favorite cities in Europe, and I didn't discover this until I started river cruising way back, Kristin, when we started up the company. But a town that you'll delight in the different Christmas markets and that French flair that's brought to the Christmas holiday here.
Yeah, and this is the Alsatian region, right? The capital of Alsace with all the culinary delights. So the river there forms the border between Germany in Kehl on one side and Strasbourg on the other side. So it's actually the oldest Christmas market in France altogether, and the most beautiful and the largest one. Fairy tale.
It should be having a Cremant, which is a champagne-style wine out in this region, and it's in the traditional form, and it's fantastic. So I should have had a Cremant in celebration of the Alsace wine region. Next slide, please. And then from Strasbourg we go up into Basel. I mean, we're skipping some different ports, but we end in Basel, Switzerland. Again, a wonderful way to end your cruise. Beautiful traditional Christmas markets. One of the wealthiest regions of Switzerland. A lot of commerce here and trade and industry. Even though we don't see the industrial part, it's outside of town. But we navigate all the way up into Basel. And there's a train station in Basel that will take you right into Zurich if you want to fly home from Zurich. Or there's also flights out of Basel. But with AmaWaterways, you do have the opportunity of traveling with our cruise director on a post excursion. When Kristin was talking about Prague earlier, you're not alone. If you're going on to Prague, if you're leaving Wilshofen or Nuremberg and going into Prague, the cruise director that's been with you those 7 days, they will stay with you and be your own personal concierge for the rest of your trip. Now, out of Basel, we do some fun things, something new, Kristin, Lake Como too. So the next slide, I think it's the next slide.
And Gary, we shouldn't forget, we have our own European office in Basel. Our European headquarters is there. All our ships are registered in Switzerland. And if you want to visit us in our office there, it's open. Please, we would love to welcome you and offer you some Glühwein and some gingerbread as well in our office.
Okay, insider tips. This is Daphne and I. This, I believe, is in Vienna, and there we have our Glühwein. The Glühwein mugs. Cindy, Debbie, you know this. You need to have space in your luggage. I know you can get creative and stuff your socks in there, your shirts around them and everything else, but plan a little fold-up bag or something to bring for all those special treats that you say to yourself, oh, I'm not going to bring a lot of stuff home. But you see these items that are unique just to these little markets that are handcrafted and I'm sorry, you find a place for them. Thick-soled shoes.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to be warm, I mean, a lot of you are on cobblestones or anything else, you need something to stop that cold from those stones coming up through the balls of your feet. So I always remember some shoes, a scarf, and gloves and a hat. If you don't bring your gloves and a hat and a scarf, you can get them at the Christmas markets, but please bring a good pair of shoes. On the cruises, we have umbrellas. You know, you go out, we have full umbrellas. We have walking sticks. So, but again, some gloves and good shoes and a scarf and extra luggage for the souvenirs. And our excursions, or I should say our pre and post. Amsterdam, Kristin talked about the daylight hours. You know, in this time of year, the sun is coming up later and going down earlier. The positive part of that is the Christmas markets, lights and everything else are that much vibrant earlier in the evening. Also, the easiest way coming out of the Christmas markets to find the Ama ships, we're really the only ships that are decorated. We spent a lot of time and effort bringing that Christmas feel and flair to our ships. So you'll see them when you're coming back into town. But again, a couple extra nights in Amsterdam, we can arrange that for you. We could also arrange your flights. We do an extension at the end of the cruise from Lucerne into Zurich, 2 nights in Lucerne and 2 nights into Zurich. And we also now have a Lake Como extension that is very, very popular. You know, northern Italy, wonderful flair. I know it'll be cooler, obviously, in the Christmas markets, but I can imagine what it's like there in the summertime. It's been a long time since I've been there, but I'm looking forward to getting back.
I was actually Lake Como a couple of years ago on December 23. And there was almost nobody there. So you would be alone, pretty much alone with the locals, and these majestic mountains, the lake scenery. I actually get goosebumps right now when I think about this, how magical this experience was. Yeah, so what is the next? Okay, Gary.
We have some savings. Always good to talk to your travel advisor about the savings we have available to us. The travel advisors, you can go on our travel agent portal. It's password protected to see what we have available that we can promote together. And right now we have a triple holiday sailings. You save $100,000 per person plus complimentary stateroom upgrade plus a $50 per person shipboard credit. And you have all the details there. We can send, if you give us your contact details, we can send this information to you. The next slide is.
All right, this is our
Kristin.
Yeah, our next sip and sail cocktail hour. So in celebration for classical music month of September. So please join us for our next sip and sail on Thursday, September 10 at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I will be co-hosting the event with Michael Christie, the Grammy Award-winning music director of the New West Symphony, as we celebrate the classical music and composers associated with our European river cruise itineraries. So if you like classical music, you will be in for a treat there. Gary.
Okay, now my parents immigrated from Ireland. My father first came over here on a boat and then saved up enough money to mail it back for my mom to join him. And I was born in Staten Island, New York. I have dual citizenship. And Ireland we've got the gift of gab. I apologize for that. So one of our toasts in Ireland, may love and laughter light your days and warm your heart and home. May good and faithful friends be yours wherever you may roam. May peace and plenty bless your world with joy and long endures. May all of life's passing seasons bring the best to you and yours. Now, I should have said that in Gaelic, but I'm sorry, I don't have that. But either way.
Beautiful, beautiful quote.
Thank you for joining us.
Very nice. Thank you.
Do you have this Ama means love, Kristin?
I think I do. And of course, our travel advisor partners, many of you know Ama Amore means love. And there is so much love. Our entire team, our AmaWaterways family, is putting into, the creation of the beautiful River Cruise product. There is so much love to our travel advisors, our partners, with whom, with many of them, we have a long friendship, partnership. It is the foundation of our business, very, very important for us. And you see all these beautiful pictures here. Every picture is a storybook, I always say. When our guests come on board our cruise ships and they have never been there, they will open the storybook and fill all these blank pages with all the memories that we share every day, with all the experiences, no matter if it's on the Christmas markets or singing Christmas carols together with our crew members on board, or really indulging in the holiday delights, the culinary delights, everything what you get on board, these nice, wonderful festive hours and family traditions on board. It is the most peaceful time. It is a very loving time that we all share with each other. And once we all can travel back to Europe, there's nothing more than I wish than to welcome all of you on board our beautiful ships in Europe, in Asia, and in Africa again. And let's see, do we have a Q&A, Sonia?
We do, absolutely. For those of our guests and travel advisors who are able to stay a little bit longer, we did reserve some time for Q&A. Kristin, I sent you the questions, but I'm happy to read them out loud if you prefer.
Okay, yeah, I'm reading them now, but Sonia, if you can read the first one, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely, yes. So the first question that we received is from a travel advisor. For a first-time traveler, would you recommend Christmas markets on the Danube or on the Rhine?
Wow, that is a very, very good question. And as Gary said, both are equally beautiful. It really depends what you're looking for. I feel the Danube has a little bit more a mix between the grand capitals of Europe, Vienna, capital of Austria, Budapest, capital of Hungary, Bratislava, capital of Slovakia. So a lot of heritage connected to the Wachau Valley, this stunning scenic wine valley where we are cruising.
Christine, the Rhine has all the castles, those beautiful castles, and the Rhine Gorge and the Alsace wine region.
I think we both have our hearts set on Gary the Rhine, I on the Danube, but my own ship, the Ama Christina, is actually sailing the Rhine. With both, we go through 4 countries. When you do the Rhine, you go through the Netherlands, Germany, France, and Switzerland. And if you do the Danube, you go to Hungary, Slovakia, Austria, and Germany. And of course, if you go to Prague, country number 5, the Czech Republic. So it's hard. I would say whatever you choose, it will be the right choice. And once you fall in love with a Christmas time cruise, you then go on another one the next year or the year after. And I have to say, now we are adding also the Ama Christina to the Rhone River in the south.
Say that, Christine.
I have to say it. So whoever has been on the Rhine and the Danube, I would love for you to consider a holiday cruise on the Rhone River as well. Again, not so many markets, but certainly beautiful Christmas and holiday traditions. Okay, so let's go to the next question here. Do you think the Christmas markets will be open this year? Well, let's say it like this. Obviously, it's out of our control. It's all ruled by the governments in the different countries we are cruising through. But the hopes are up. Let's say it like this. The hopes are up. I read something recently about Basel, that they plan to have the Christmas markets open. Again, maybe in a more regulated way, that is spread out the stalls throughout the city, maybe will not take as many people into the markets as it usually was. So there might be certain times where you can go in, or you have to wait in line until somebody comes out again. I'm not sure, but I'm really hoping the markets will be open, at least in the majority of the cities. But unfortunately, it is not up to us, yeah? And we are still, the time is still very fluid we are living on, and we have just to comply with the protocol there. So not a question, but a comment. Gudrun writes, I have my 4-year-old grandson who is watching along with me. He keeps telling me how much he loves this and says, Grandma, you need to take me there. Oh, this is absolutely wonderful. And Gudrun, if you have not been there, take your grandson on a Christmas market cruise when it's possible again. He will have the best time in his life. I actually was on a Christmas time cruise when I was out on the excursion with a single or a solo mom, and she had her 6-year-old son with her. And I heard the son saying, and this was in Vienna, he said, Mom, I want to go home. And we had just started in Budapest 2 days earlier. And the mom was shocked, and she looked at me, and I was close by, and I was a little bit shocked too. And she said, no, my son, we still have 5 days to go, and we cannot just fly home now. And he said, no, I don't mean I want to fly home. I want to go home to my ship. And so in those 2 days, the ship already became his home because of all the beautiful decorations, the wonderful food, the genuine caring service of the crew. So please consider our ships your home away from home. And thank you, Gudrun. And now the next would be, do you accommodate solo travelers? Gary.
Yes, we do. And we have a great solo policy of just 25% additional. That's for the additional. So it's 125% of the, it's a 25% more than the brochure price, but you get your own cabin, and it's a magical way. We really handle solos well. We have odd seating tables. We'll have tables of 5, so the maitre d' will ask you if you'd like to join another table. You can join the table, so there's not an empty seat there. We have a reception for all the solo travelers on the first night, and you're very, very welcome on board. And like, I think it was Cindy that said it's a tight group. When you're on a ship together with 150 people, it's so different than being on a ship with 3,000 people, because you get to meet each other, you get to know each other, and you come back from your shore excursions, because everyone's doing different shore excursions. They're all included, and people like to share the experiences, and maybe on the next day they'll do a shore excursion together. And for families, because everything's in, all these excursions are included, you'll find maybe some of the family might go on a biking tour, some of the family might go on a walking tour or a culinary tour, but you all come together for the meals and have these wonderful experiences to share. And no one has to be sort of the lieutenant of the group. Everyone can just do their own thing, and you come back together as a family during the day or during the meal and just share the delightful experiences you had on board.
Absolutely. And we also have for the solo travelers the first night, you get an invitation to the captain's table, so you can get to know each other and decide if you want to, you know, be together during the cruise or maybe not, because we can never assume. Maybe you just want to keep for yourself. But so the next question is, what type of entertainment do you offer on board? Do we offer on board? So it is, of course, from classical music, sound of music, when we are in the Vienna, Salzburg area, the Hungarian folk dancers. We also have a dance night, but we might have
the people from ABBA come on board, the ABBA dance party. The ABBA dance party is always a hit.
The ABBA dance party is an amazing, amazing dance party. And the only thing we have to go away maybe is traditional singers on board, just because with the current situation, when we are indoor, we might not want to encourage that singing part too much. If it's in the right distance, then it might be possible. We will figure this out. We currently have one ship cruising, the Ama Christina, but it is cruising for the German-speaking guests, the local guests, It's cruising the Rhine, Gary. That's your itinerary, and it's doing very well. And it is also scheduled to do Christmas market cruises. So, but no matter.
Kristin, we have one guest that's done that trip 3 times.
See?
That's how much they like the Rhine.
Absolutely. And I have to agree. You cannot see the castles just once. You know, I could see it over and over and over again all the time. You're so right.
And now we go to Monstein Castle. We meet the proprietors, the family that have that castle. That's another highlight.
Yes, and this is also what you have with AmaWaterways. We give you entrance to a lot of very exclusive castles, where sometimes the owner of the castle is still there, because we are from these areas. We know the people there quite well. And then you have a wonderful tour really done by the owners. Very, very special. Now here is a recommendation from our loyal guest, Ollie Cook. Bring bubble wrap to wrap your mugs and delicate handcrafts. So again, thank you, Ollie. That is so, so true. And Gary, because I know you talked about what to wear, tell us again about your recommendation to wear jackets, scarves, boots, hats.
Layers. This is it's like a light leather jacket, but I'd have a sweater under it with a shirt and a scarf and gloves and a hat, and it was never cold. Now, then you could peel off the sweater if you needed to, or the scarf, but a good scarf. And you know what? There's great shopping. You're over there, so make sure you have enough warm clothes to get you through the first day or two, because you'll discover, value. I mean, you can't see the detail in this German leather jacket here, but it is. You can put it in a ball and shake it out, and it looks really nice. So maybe that's too much information, but it's a great traveling jacket. Dress in layers, good socks, good shoes, and gloves.
Yeah, and me personally, if you are into dirndls, I can recommend you go to Salzburg or in Linz to purchase yourself a dirndl that later you can maybe wear at your local Oktoberfest back in the US, in Canada, or any country where you are from. You know,
Yeah,
your friends.
I like dirndls, Kristin. I like dirndls.
Yeah, of course you do. So let's see. Wow, I think we are at the end of our hour. I apologize, we went a little bit overboard, but this is when you have a good time with each other, right? So I want to thank all of you in behalf of the entire AmaWaterways family for joining us, and hopefully we see us all on one of our Christmas time and holiday cruises in the near future. And Cindy and Debbie, thank you so much for joining us. And I know you have been on the Rhine, so next time you will cruise the Danube with us, right?
We're all ready to go. We got it booked for April.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
everyone.
much.
This photo was taken last New Year's. Remember, Kristin? So
On AmaMagna, yes. And this
look at that
was New Year's
sunshine.
in early January.
All right,
Beautiful
cheers,
weather.
everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much. Santé.
Cheers. Bye now.
And the story continues. Bye-bye.
Thank you.